Nonviolence is a total attitude, and if you have it to its ultimate degree, it is ahimsa, which ultimately ahimsa is love. And so if a person is... Ultimately ahimsa is love.
Ahimsa is the Jain term for
nonviolence, but it's a very comprehensive term. So that an attitude of nonviolence means one is patient in day-to-day life. One listens to others on a deep level and responds to people's needs. Reality speaks to us often through the needs of others and the whole situation that we're in each moment.
That the process of serving, even in daily chores, to your family life can be seen as a discipline,
Yes. It can become transformative. I know a woman in Maine, Adele Millette, who did just that. I mean, here she was a wife with 3 children, and her husband was a teacher, and Adele stayed home all those years and took care of those children, and when they were asleep, she would just take the scriptures and read a passage and then say, meditate, reflect on that for a half hour. So slowly her consciousness was transformed because she got drawn into this incredible depth of illumination and finally into union with God.
How are we going to go about doing that?
There are thousands of ways. And each person is unique, and their needs and their history are different. So therefore they have to find the rhythm for them, the way for them which will work for them. And I think that in time that will be revealed to them, you know, through trial and error or through a teacher, you know, or something they just stumble on. You just come to it, you know. And I think ultimately, like with meditation, for me, the essence of meditation is very early in the morning or in the afternoon, is to become aware how intense silence is. And if we become attuned to that, like in Tantra Yoga, they say that God is a very subtle vibration, frequency. And so with meditation, you're slowly tuning yourself to that level of vibration of the divine. So there are more and more subtle states of consciousness. And the Tibetans have really explored this. And it's very interesting that we have to develop and open what the mystics call our spiritual senses. We have inner senses, which are closed because we are so extroverted as a people and a culture. So we must awaken those. And those gifts, they call them the gifts of the Holy Spirit in the Christian tradition. They're implicit in the faith of any Christian, but they're not aware of it. They stay on this very external level of faith.
You're describing something that sounds to me like electricity or something. It's a property of the universe. So if you went and plug your socket into the wall, it functions.
Yes.
It could be a lamp, or it could be a flashlight, but it is a property of the universe.
Yeah, well, it's God. It's grace, and it depends on how ready you are and how attuned you are to it. So that if our inner senses, our spiritual senses, awaken, the awakening, then we become alert to another level of consciousness. That God is so subtle that it takes time and a process to adjust, to be able to experience those other levels of consciousness. Extremely subtle, but I find that in the quiet, that when it's quiet, that it's possible to become aware of God very deeply.